Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. Well, hello there, friends, and welcome back to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. It's me, Wendy Batten, your host. Today, we're going to have a little coffee break today. I've got my coffee here. We're going to just have a little coffee break chat. We used to do these, I think we did them last summer, and we had a lot of feedback. And basically, I'm going to answer some questions over these coffee chats and make them a little bit shorter episodes for you this summer and make them consumable. And it's things that have been on my mind or questions I've been asked. So today's coffee break chat, I should say, is from a client that I just had a coaching call with and inspired this podcast. I actually said I'm going to do a podcast about this because it's a question I've been getting a lot. We did a visibility series, a 3-part visibility series a few months ago, and on different ways you as your shop could get visibility. One of the things that I share in that podcast series is about being a big deal in your town. And this has caused anxiety in a few of my clients. So my client I just had a coaching call with said to me, Wendy, I don't like being a big deal. I'm not into self-promotion. I don't want to be the center of attention. I don't want I just like, blech, right? And if that's your feeling as well, I have some questions for you. So I'm going to walk you through what I did with my client, or the questions I the questions I gave her. And I want you to think about it as well. I want you to be a big deal in your community because you are. You are important to the economic and the social vibrancy of the community. You are a big deal. If you close, who will miss you? Your customers will miss you. You are a big deal. What I see happen with a lot of retail businesses is they just float. They're just sort of nondescript. They're on the street. We work so hard. Why would you want to be nondescript, or why would you just want to not be invisible? I hate saying being invisible, but we want the opposite of invisibility. We want you to invisibility. We want you to be super visible. We also want you to be a big deal. We want people to want to go into your shop. So here's my questions for you about being a big deal in your community. And it's not about flaunting yourself. Let's talk about flaunting your brand. Let's talk about flaunting your shop. Let's talk about showing up as a vibrant community shop, a shop that's important in your community. So if you're proud of your shop and you're proud of what you're building in your community and you have something that's amazing, why do you not want to tell people about it or brag about it? You do not want to be the best kept secret. We always say that's just not what we want to go for. So if your answer is yes, I'm really proud of my shop, well, we need to let people know about it. What makes your shop special? Are you just average? Are you just the same as the other shops in your community? Yeah, why, there's nothing special about us. Don't bother shopping here. You might as well go down the street. Is that how you feel about your brand? No, you don't feel that way. That's not why you're putting in all these hours and doing all this work. You love your products. You love your current customers. You love what you're doing. I hope if you're listening to this, that's how you feel. But you have to let the world know that you're proud of what you do. Stop being, wishy-washy about hoping people find you and hoping you're just, word of mouth and reputation. It'll happen. No, be a big deal in your community. I want you to promote yourself, your brand. If you are just average, then you might as well turn this podcast off because we're not for you. But you're not. You're better than that. And I want to remind you that average doesn't inspire. So if you're feeling like I'm just kind of blending in the shop, in the town, and I'm just, I don't want to be a big deal. I don't want to do that. It's fine. We'll just wait for people to come in. We want to remind you that average does not inspire anyone, and no one wants to be average. So we want to elevate your brand. We want you to be the place to go in town, right? We want you to be everywhere. So we want people to know your name. And again, I'm going to tell you to go back and listen to the podcast series on visibility that we have done. I'll link the episodes in the show notes here. But I do want to remind you that visibility matters. Being a big deal matters. Being proud of what you're doing matters. So if you're proud of what you're doing and you can list out what makes you special, I think everybody needs to do that exercise quite regularly. If you don't know where to start about what makes you special and what your unique selling features are and why they should choose you, that's great homework for you to do and take action on right now. Write out all the things that customers say to you. If you don't know, just saying, oh, we have good service and we have nice products isn't special, right? Other people do that. What makes your brand special? So make sure you know what that is, and make sure you know what makes you better than average, right? What makes you better than average? And again, average doesn't inspire anyone. So nobody will, that will just wear out. So we want you to be confident. We want you to be professional. We want you to be everywheres. We want chatter in your community. And again, go listen to that podcast series on visibility. There's lots of strategy around that. But some of the things that you can do to get attention and to make yourself a big deal, once you write it out and you figure out, yeah, heck yeah, I am a big deal, right? You're not ordinary. You are a big deal. You can get some media coverage, perhaps. That's one quick way to do it. It's pitching yourself. And don't wait to be asked. I have all kinds of clients that say, oh my gosh, you won't believe what happened. So-and-so, TV or radio or magazine asked me to be in the articles or on air. Don't wait for them to ask. Pitch them and tell them how exciting you are and what's going on in your shop, and do a press release. Those things are wonderful. Pitch them and make sure that you are confident and happy and not just like, well, I hope you'll come to our open house. No, but that's not going to inspire anybody. We want you to be a big deal. Tell them why they should come to your next event, and introduce yourself. Be confident about your business and your brand. Be a big deal. So what are you exceptional at? That's one thing I would also ask you to remind yourself. What are you exceptional at? Make sure you're talking about that in your business. Show up in your community. These are things, again, we talk about in the visibility series, but they are ways to be a big deal in your community. Make sure that you are showing up in your community and be so confident. And confidence comes from doing. Confidence comes from doing. So you build your confidence the more you do these things, the more you show up at community events, the more you participate in wherever your community is hanging out, the more you pitch yourself, the more you introduce yourself to, maybe people that matter in your community or the media. It does come from confidence. So my client that I worked with, we had this, I want to call it this pump up session. We had this confidence conversation, if you will. And, she started saying, yeah, we are a big deal. And like, I knew she was, and I kind of, helped her, nudged her towards all the things that makes her brand and special and wonderful, and why it's important to let people know and to be visible. So I want you to remember that you are a big deal, and you need to be confident about that. Your team also needs to be confident about why you're a big deal. This is not a braggy thing. This is what we are. What makes your brand unique? Make sure you know that, and make sure the world knows that. Make sure you are making it a big deal. Stop playing small in your community. Stop playing small in your community. I see that a lot. So you want to promote yourself. You want to be everywheres. You want to make sure that people are talking about you and chatter. And there's, so much information out there coming at all your clients. And we don't want you to just be the average. We want them to remember you. We want you to be rememberable. We want you to be coveted. We want you to be, exceptional in what you're doing. And that's what matters. That's what's going to make a difference in customers coming to you over the next, over the summer, over the holiday season. We want people to eagerly be excited about coming to your shop, right? So that comes from you being a big deal in your community. So I hope this has been helpful. Take away, hopefully you remember, average does not inspire anybody, and you are not average, my friend. You are exceptional. You are wonderful. You are doing amazing things in your community. So write it down if you have to. Think about what your clients are saying about you. Think about what you know you're exceptional at. Think about what the world needs to know you're exceptional at, and make sure that you remember that you are a big deal. Hope you enjoyed your coffee. Hope you poured yourself a coffee and enjoyed your coffee. Don't call it self-promotion. Call it being a big deal. And thank you for listening. I hope we can connect again next week. We have another coffee break chat coming up next week, and then lots of fun things coming up, I guess, for the rest of summer. I don't want to give it all away, but lots of fun episodes coming up. We have some more interviews with our retailers behind the counter, we're calling that series, which I love because I get to chat with lots of cool clients and lots of retailers doing really neat things, lots of wonderful things happening. So I hope you're having a fantastic week. We'll connect next week with another coffee break chat. I'm going to try to keep these ones quick and easy for you, and hopefully confidence boosters for you as well too, and action taking. So what are you going to do this week to be a big deal in your community? Thanks for listening, my friends. We'll see you next week. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you were here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.